New tonight on the Town Hall, we are learning more about the new Bills Stadium coming to Orchard Park and the timeline for construction. Our partners over at Buffalo Business First say construction is on pace to begin in the spring. That's according to Pagula Sports and Entertainment. And joining us now from our partners at Buffalo Business First, reporter Jim Fink. Jim, we're glad to have you with us, and you know that people are looking for any updates that they can get on the new Bills Stadium. So to start off, what can you tell us about the updated construction timeline and when they actually might start doing something?
Well, first of all, I'm going to use a little bit of a football parlance. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on, but it's kind of like using the football parlance. They're kind of still in the pre-game warm-ups. They haven't even got to the national anthem yet. But that said, if you go, there is a lot of activity out at the site, which is very typical in any construction project. Before you get a shovel in the ground, you have to do environmentals, and you're going to see people on the Abbott Road site, with doing digging, and because they're checking this soil, the environment, they're going to be checking traffic patterns. So a lot of that stuff is going on right now. But as for actual physical shovel in the ground that the public will be able to see, Ron Rikuya from PSC told me probably they're looking March, April, somewhere in that range.
We know there's so many details and so much to think about here. And one of the big parts of the plan from the beginning was to have as many local companies help with the construction as possible. So what's the status there? And is there an updated timeline as far as those bids?
Well, we're already starting to see some of that. One of the general contractors who's going to be working on this is Arc Building Partners, which is located in downtown Buffalo. Turner Construction, which has a major Buffalo office, as does Gilbane. They've both been retained. Phillips Lytle is the lead counsel on the environmental study. Leroy Engineering is doing some work related to that. So there's a lot of local projects, a lot of local companies already working on this. Again, a lot of the stuff is in the construction world is pretty routine. You see a lot of stuff, and to the credit of PSC, they're really trying to keep as much of the work local as possible. You know, they're talking about throughout the 5-year process of this, perhaps as many as 10,000 workers being connected to this in one way, shape, or form.
And there were some, Jim, there were some preliminary drawings and renderings of what the new stadium site might look like. Those were kind of pretty basic, sort of just a outline of where they might be. When might we see, do you think, an actual design and some of those more detailed plans and see what really might take shape?
Well, the key word you just said there is might look like. The actual populace out of Kansas City is working on the designs right now. They will probably, from what I'm told, sometime September, October, give a rough idea, I don't want to use the word rough, but they'll give a first drawing of what the stadium complex could look like. There'll be some tweaking back and forth to be sure, but the game plan is to have the final design done by the end of this year or no later than early January, because then you have to shift into the bidding process and people have to know what they're bidding for.
And of course, knowing that there's all of these things.
Hello?
Everyone really wants to know, looking down the road, Jim, when's it going to be done? And when would the stadium the old stadium come down?
The target date is to still have the new stadium be ready to host its first game to start the 2026 football season. And the demolition of Highmark Stadium will not happen until after the new stadium is open. And that will probably take, by the time they demolish it and remediate the land and get it ready for parking, that itself is probably a 12 to 18 month process itself.
We've been chatting with Jim Fink from Buffalo Business First. Jim, helping everyone to sound like a real expert at their next backyard barbecue, and everybody gets talking about the Bills. So thanks for the intel tonight. We appreciate it.
No problem. This is a project that's under a very powerful microscope.
For sure, and more to come.